Let's think for a second for the task how to stop the game when all the lives are lost. Actually, we can show a lot of different things to the player when he lost all of his lives. We can just stop the game when it is, or we can even let some of the things move, and even one line of code could make the game pointless, because we written so much code and each part of it is really important. If, for example, we stop giving score to the player, this is going to be horrible enough for him. We can also stop moving the bow when all the lives are lost, or we can stop the player moving. There are so many lines of code that we can just switch off and stop the game or make it pointless. I think for the player is going to be most horrific, and he will immediately realize he failed if we stop him from moving. But how to stop a line of code? Do we know a way with which just one line of code, or perhaps many lines of code, to be not executed sometimes? Well, of course, this is if. And yeah, if I write some if, and in this if, in the curly brackets, we got the line of code moving the player. Now, when this condition is met, the player will be able to move, and when the condition is not met, this line of code is not going to execute. So, what condition to write here? Well, a moment in which we didn't want the player to be able to move is when lives remaining is less than 0, or for example less or equal. Let's see how our game behaves now, and we can see that now I cannot move the player. This was not what I intended. I wanted to be able to move the player initially and to stop being able to move it whenever I lost enough lives. You can see that exactly the opposite thing happened. When I lost enough lives, I started moving my player. Apparently, what is going on is that the sign here should be exactly the opposite. The opposite sign of less than or equal to is surprisingly bigger. Is lives remaining bigger than 0 is the only case in which we want the player to be able to move. Let's see how such a game will behave. Well, initially I can move and I can catch the ball, and I can miss it, and if I miss it enough times, you can see to the right that I'm losing lives, and when I miss my final lives, which is going to happen now, I cannot move my player anymore. But surprisingly, I still am able to collect more points. I think this happened here, and it is going to happen even more times. What happened? Well, we written an if and we had to fix it so that we can move the player only when we have enough lives remaining. But it appears that moving the player is not so important for our game. This is surprising, but yes, we can gain score even if we don't move the player. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to take this if and instead place it about something different. For example, what if moving the bow is going on only when we have lives remaining? Let's see how this is going to... Oh, I did something really horrible. This is kind of strange because there is a mistake on line 31 and this is the final curly bracket of our update. I haven't touched it. What I actually did is that I took an if that was written here, but I didn't took its closing curly bracket, and this is the unneeded curly bracket that I need to delete. Is everything fine with my code now? Not really. There is one line of code that is not formatted correctly. Do you see a line of code that should be more to the left or to the right? Well, it's a line of code that was in the if that I deleted or replaced. So now this line of code should be on a different place. And this is line 29. It should be here. So that it appears that this line of code happens on each update and it's not in any of our ifs. So now I can save my code and the bow should be able to move only when I have lives remaining. Let's see how this is working when my curly brackets are fine. Well, I missed a life. I will catch the bow one. I got a score. I have a lot of scores now. But I'm going to lose lives. This is what I want to test. I want to test what is going to happen now. I can move my player's paddle, but I cannot see any bow anymore. So I'm not going to be able to lose life or gain score. And I think this is everything that I wanted you to do with this game. I hope that you liked it. If you want to do something more with this game, well, I can give you more tasks, but they are going to be part of your homework. I already told you one of your homework tasks, and you already knew another of our homework tasks, because every time you learn something new that you can write in our code, please write it on your sheet of paper with all our knowledge. And let's go to the new interesting tasks. Think of a way to make a background color for the playing field. I have given some examples for such colors, but I'm really horrible with selecting colors, so please choose a different colors. And don't be scared from this task. It's a really easy task. You just need to think of a way to draw something green and big as our playing field. Perhaps I gave too big of a hint. I don't know. Let's talk about task 3. In it, I want you to make the player be able to restart the game and play again and again without having to refresh the browser. Now I can never see the bow again. I need to refresh the page and restart my application, restart my canvas. This is kind of stupid. I don't want to do this. I want to use any other key on the keyboard and get my lives back, or instead get some of my lives back, but at least continue playing. Think for this task it's a really easy task, and I hope you all be able to do it. Another easy task we already had in a lot of our previous homeworks, so I hope it's easy for you now. Make each bow that resurrects again and again from the right be a little faster than the previous. Bigger task, but with no creativity in it, you just need to copy, paste and change a lot of code, is making a new paddle on the other side of the playing field where the bow can resurrect from. Make a new paddle on top of the playing field. You can make it in new color or keep it again green. And the hard task is again to check for a hit or missing the bow, and accordingly give score or take lives. Task 6 in your homework is going to make the game even harder for the player. Let's make the bow smaller each time it resurrects or each time it's hit by the paddle. And finally, the hardest task and the topic of our next lesson is going to be real Pong. This is the game that I started talking about. It's a game in which the bow does not teleport, does not resurrect from one side of the playing field to the other. It's a game in which the bow changes its directions. This is going to be really interesting task for you, because there is no such thing as a direction variable, and we should think of how to use number variables for something that will vary but is not a number. It's a direction. There are 4 directions that I want the bow to be able to have. You can see that it moves diagonally, up left, up right, down left, down right. So what if some variable number shows us in which of those 4 directions the bow is currently going? Think of such a code and try to do it before I show you how to do it in our next lesson. Bye bye!